Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something a little different. It's a haul. It's going to be a haul of the Nespresso pods that I recently ordered. But in one of my recent haul videos, I had gotten asked by quite a few people if I could please share some coffee recipes with you, how I make my coffees at home. So I decided that what I would do is like a Nespresso haul plus some at-home barista moments. You know, I don't know how else to explain that, but anyways, just basically how I make my coffee. But before we get into that, I did want to talk a little bit about Nespresso. If you don't have a Nespresso machine and it's something you've been considering, I will link everything I can think of coffee related that makes my life happy down in the description box below. Me personally, I'm an iced coffee girl. I was born and raised in Massachusetts, and even if it was negative 19 degrees out, I would be drinking iced coffee. So one of the things that I have that makes my iced coffee journey that much better is I have this thing called a hyper chiller. So the hyper chiller, basically what I do, and you'll see in the videos, is I brew the coffee directly into the hyper chiller, swirl it around for like 30 to 60 seconds, or sometimes if I'm busy, I just let it sit on the counter. It makes the coffee cold without watering it down with ice, and then I pour it over ice and voila, I have some delicious iced coffee. So this, besides my Nespresso machine itself, this is probably my top recommendation if you are also an iced coffee lover. Grab one of these, and they're relatively inexpensive. I want to say they're in like the $20 to $30 range. With inflation, maybe they're like $86 now, but when I purchased it, it was somewhere between $20 and $30. So this is one of the things that I'm obsessed with. I personally have the Nespresso Virtuo Plus machine, and I'm obsessed with it. It's a pod machine, just like a Keurig, but there's so much variety in terms of the different pods that you can purchase. So that was the next thing I want to talk about, was the pods that I like to purchase are these 7.77 ounce pods. Let me just show you one. We've got the Vivita. This is the same one that's inside the box. You can see it's a little bit larger. The Espresso pods are a little bit smaller, like this. And so these ones right here only make 2.7 fluid ounces. So if you are new to the Nespresso game, don't make the same mistake as me. If you want to get fancy with at-home macchiatos and stuff like that, order yourself those 2.7 ounce espresso pods, because that's what those are meant for. But if you're looking for just like a quick iced coffee that you can have a generous amount of coffee, a splash of milk to it, a couple pumps of something sweet, make it a beautiful iced coffee, you want to get these larger pods. Don't make the same mistake I did. The other mistake that I made when I was first purchasing for the Nespresso, my very first order, I had accidentally ordered the original line pods instead of the Virtuo Plus pods, and they are completely different. They don't fit in each other's machines. So just pay attention to what machine you have before you place an order. The Nespresso customer service was awesome, and they ended up swapping it out for me without giving me too much of a hassle. So it worked out, but it just obviously delayed the time for me getting to my coffee. Oh, and then I'll link the video where I show the different syrups that I purchased recently, but the syrups that I like to buy is from Monin, and I just order them from monin.com. There's an Instagrammer, and she has a YouTube too, so I'll link her below, that I like to follow. I'll link both her Instagram and YouTube. I love to follow her for coffee recipes. I'm not gonna turn into a coffee channel. This is just gonna be just to show what I like to do. But if you are looking for like coffee content, I'll link her because I just love her. She's such a breath of fresh air. She has a code for Monin, so when I shop, I use her code because it gets me a discount, and I'm sure she gets some type of kickback. And she shares a bunch of free recipes for coffees, so I feel like she deserves that kickback, you know? Anyways, so we're gonna get into what I purchased from Nespresso, then I'm gonna show you the recipes, and that's it. If you guys wanna see more, I will, like I said, I'm not gonna turn into a coffee channel, but I can incorporate more drinks in the future. Also, every so often on my Instagram, which I will link below, I share like my coffee that morning, and I put what I put in it. So I try not to go too crazy. Okay, I have 8 different syrups at home, and I would say that's usually my max, like on how many I'm gonna have. I usually have 2 of the 64 ounce sauces. But I will say, John and I have different preferences when it comes to coffee. So the reason why I have so much is because he has his preferences, I have mine. So it's kind of like 2 people having that many, you know? If it was just me, maybe I would only have like 4 or 5, possibly. But variety is the spice of life, so it's fine. Everything's great. So we're gonna get into that video. If you have questions, leave them in the comment section below. Since we're gonna be making coffees together, I figured I'd share with you some of our favorites that we order from Nespresso, and then I actually ordered a couple new flavors to try out. I'm gonna say this haul probably would last us like a month and a half, maybe 2 months. I probably won't need to order for another 2 months. So we have some fan favorites in here, and then we also have a couple new flavors that I'm interested to try. So the Melozio. If you are new to Nespresso, if you just ordered an espresso machine, this is the one that I always saw all over the place, and this is probably my favorite. They also make a Melozio Boost, and this one has 20% additional caffeine. The new flavors that I got to try is sweet vanilla and rich chocolate. I know that there was a chocolate fudge one that most people did not like, so I don't know if they reworked the formula, and like this is going to be their reattempt at that. But I ordered just one sleeve to be safe, and then I got 2 sleeves of sweet vanilla because I haven't seen any drama about that one. And then I also like this one. This is the Vivita one. This one here has, they say, has cereal notes in it. So when you go on Nespresso's website, it'll tell you a little bit about what type of notes they have. It's kind of like a perfume. What I'll do is, let me do it this way. I'm gonna go ahead and put the notes on the screen so you know. I'll put it like this. That way we can put the notes. We're figuring this out together. The notes will be listed on the screen for you. Then we have rich chocolate. Notes will be listed on the screen if you want to try that one out. Sweet vanilla. Melozio Boost. So this one will probably be the same notes as the Melozio. I don't know why that's not focusing, but you guys forgive me, right? And then Melozio. Put the notes on the screen there. Okay, so that's the entire lineup for what we grabbed. I've never really had one that I don't like, I'll say. I didn't love they have an iced coffee line that has lime added to it. Did not love that, but I did like the coconut version. I didn't end up getting around to trying the watermelon version. That one probably would have been cool. Anyways, Melozio is basically my go-to. Melozio Boost is like its sexy older sister. You know what I mean? What I was going to say about Vivita before I got sidetracked by myself is that this one, it says it has cereal notes, and I have been enjoying this when I make like a French toast inspired latte. And for whatever reason, I really pick up the difference when I use this one versus Melozio. It just does have like a sweeter finish to it, which I am not a coffee aficionado whatsoever. So for me to be able to pick up a difference is a big deal. If you're actually into coffee, I'm guessing you would definitely notice the difference. But this one does have like a sweeter, richer type vibe to it, where I feel like the Melozio is a little smoother and a little more mild. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, that was a lot of talking about coffee, but here we are. This is everything. Boom. I wanted to give you guys a little peek into my Nespresso drawer over here. So inside this drawer, I'll link down below the organizer that I ended up purchasing. But over here, let me just go through what I do have on hand. So prior to my little haul over there, I had Melozio on hand. I also had this golden caramel. I really enjoyed this one. I have the Vivita. This one was really awesome. This is the Starbucks Reserve. This one, though, only made 2.7 fluid ounces. And I really loved it, but they didn't have it in stock. And also, I didn't love the fact that it was like literally a quarter what these big Larrys over here do. I have this Bianco Piccola espresso. So this one only makes, oh, this one makes 9 fluid ounces. So this makes big, which is weird because it's so small. That's confusing. Life's fine. Everything's good. We already went over that. This one here is the Double Espresso Dulce, and this one makes 2.7 fluid ounces, so same as the Starbucks one. So that's like good if you want to make like a fancy macchiato or something. Over here, I think this is the Starbucks one. Oh, this is Double Espresso Scuro, 2.7 ounces. This is supposed to be like a darker flavor. Darker, I don't think is the right word, but you get it. This is more of the Bianco Piccolo. At one point I had this in a nice organized fashion, but life happened. Over here I have, just from when I was pregnant, I had some decaffeinated ones, and that's what's remaining. Over on this side, I just keep some stirring spoons for when I make hot ones for John, and then I also keep the little caps for my syrups. Sorry, it's the end of a long day and long week. And then in the back over here, I have the descaling solution, which I'm actually going to pull this out because we need to run that on the machine. It was yelling at me. So we're going to do the descaling on here. But I just want to show you how this got organized. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and fill it up. I have a cabinet underneath too. So anything that doesn't fit in the drawer, I just keep the boxes right under there. Okay, so the first latte that we're going to be making in this video is a S'mores Latte. This is one of my new favorites. So I have my cup of crushed ice. I'm going to add a pump of white chocolate. I'm going to add a pump of toasted marshmallow. And I'm going to add a pump of Swiss chocolate. Okay, so we're going to do like a cold foam for the top. So I'm doing about 2 tablespoons of whole milk and two tablespoons of a heavy whipping cream. Wow, I can't talk. Now for this cold foam, you could put whatever you want as a syrup, but I'm going to go ahead and do a pump of the French vanilla. Okay, next up, what we're using for a pod today, honestly, you could use whatever you want, but I'm just using the Ice Forte pod, popping that in there. And then last step is just to put it all together. Now, if I was cool enough, I would top it with graham crackers, but I don't have graham crackers. So I am instead just gonna sprinkle it with a little bit of cinnamon. Boom, there is my S'mores iced coffee. All right, next up, friends, we've got a dark chocolate macadamia nut iced coffee. And for this one, I'm using a Melozio pod because it has nuts and honeyed sweetness with cereal as its note. So I thought the nuts would make sense with macadamia nut. So I am brewing that into my hyper chiller, and then I'm going to get started on the cold foam for this one. Same as with the s'mores one for the cold foam, I'm just doing a couple tablespoons of heavy whipping cream and a couple tablespoons of whole milk. You could also use just like an oat creamer for this if you wanted to avoid dairy. And then I'm just doing a shot of macadamia nut for this one. If you wanted it to be extra sweet, you could also add a pump of like a pure cane syrup or even a French vanilla. I am gathering my crushed ice here in a nice little cup that says Mama on it. And I'm going to go ahead and add 1 pump of dark chocolate sauce to it. Another option is to do a white chocolate sauce. That's really good with macadamia nut. And then I'll do 1 pump of macadamia nut syrup. If you want it sweeter, you can add vanilla or pure cane. But for me, the dark chocolate makes it very decadent, so I stick with this. I just spilled coffee everywhere. As you can tell, we are completely professional over here. With a dose of cinematic magic, the coffee is now gone. Now, when I want the cold foam to be extra foamy, I just run my machine one more time to refroth it. And as you can see here, I'm just pouring it over the coffee and the ice. I will say this ended up making a total mess, so you'll see it foaming out the side, but it ended up making a cool picture, so whatever. And that, my friends, is the dark chocolate macadamia nut iced coffee. Next up, we're going to make a French toast iced coffee. This is John's absolute favorite, and it's one of my favorites as well. I'm using a Vivita pod for this one because it has those cereal and sweet notes in it, which I think is perfect for a French toast iced coffee. For this one, we're adding a pump of toasted marshmallow, a pump of maple spice, and a pump of French vanilla. I'm pouring the coffee over the ice, and then I'm going to stir in a dash of cinnamon and some whole milk. Not even bothering with the cold foam this time. This is a quick, easy coffee that tastes like a decadent treat. Stirring it up, and that, my friends, is the French toast iced coffee. All right, my friends, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you like it over here, be sure to subscribe before you leave. It means the world to me, and I hope you have a magical day. Bye.